Hello, wonderful people. This is Tom Check with Choice Coaching, where we help you unlock your inner awesomeness. And today we are talking about the lenses through which we view our lives, the lenses through which you view your life. This is an idea that's really easy to wrap our heads around. We've talked before about limiting beliefs, big assumptions, kind of those stories through which we perceive our worlds. And if we reframe that just a little bit to being the lenses through which we view the world, we've got a really apparent kind of crossover. If I were to look outside my window in my office here and I look outside, I've got two options, right? I can look at what is beyond the window, or I can look at the window itself. I can see the screen, I can see the hard water spots from the last rainstorm, whatever's on the window. And I can change my focus of my eyeballs in order to do that, right? Really simple, everybody can do that. Why am I even bringing this up? And I'm bringing it up because it's also something that we should get into the practice of doing at least occasionally when we're in reflective work, to focus in on those lenses through which we're viewing the world, so that when it looks muddy or gross or dingy out there, we can determine, is the window dirty or is the outside world really big, dirty, scary place? And this is kind of an abstract concept, but it's not that hard to do once you've identified some of your limiting beliefs and big assumptions. And if you don't know how to do that, check out the links in the blog post on my website right below this video. I'll link to a couple other videos where we talk about identifying those limiting beliefs. There's a really straightforward approach to that. And I think it's really valuable, and what I invite you to do is to, after you identify one of your limiting beliefs, maybe it's that if I say the wrong thing at work, I will get fired, right? And that's a limiting belief that you have. At some point in your life, maybe that was true. Maybe you said something crazy and you got fired for it. And now that assumption and that belief that that's how the world works changes the way that you go through your work life, and you don't get to feel authentic, and you're not actually contributing your full potential to your work environment, right? That's one example of a limiting belief. Once we know that that belief is there, it's really powerful to, on reflection, when you're journaling in the morning or when you're doing your evening pages, whatever your reflective process is, to identify how often, as you went through your day, did you look through life through this lens, right? And this is the exact same thing that we've talked about in other forms. We call it noticing, right? Noticing the big assumption, noticing the behavior, noticing the emotions. This is just a different way to approach it, where instead of noticing just what's going on out there, we look at the thing that's between us and out there. We look at the belief and we identify why it's showing up, what purpose it's trying to serve, how it's trying to keep us safe, and whether or not it's actually adding value to our life. And this totally changes the script of what's going on in our mind. Instead of just believing that if I say the wrong thing, I'll get fired as true, I'm instead focusing totally on the lens itself, on the window through which I'm viewing. And I'm saying, oh, look, here's a belief I've got. I wonder why I've got that belief. Why do I think that that's going to happen? At what point in my life was that true, right? This investigation part of the tool that we've talked about multiple times. And, also that acceptance part of, like, this is a lens through which I see the world. It does limit my experience. Accepting that that's what's going on, so that I'm willing to focus on it, so that I can start to work through it, so that I can start to identify, when does this lens serve me and actually add value to my life? And when does this lens not serve me and not add value to my life? So that's the idea. The invitation for you today is identify a couple of the big assumptions, limiting beliefs, some of these lenses through which you view the world. They might not have, they don't have to be bad ones. They don't have to be good ones. They're just, the assumptions that you hold about how the world works, your lenses that you see the world through. And every day for a couple of days straight, just write down what lenses you viewed the world through the previous day, the previous hour, previous 10 minutes, whatever your time span is that you want to focus on. What were the lenses that you viewed the world through? What are those stories that you saw come up? those big assumptions about how the world works, those limiting beliefs about why things are the way they are. And then, identify when did it serve me to believe that? When has that lens actually been a good thing in my life? Then identify, is it still a good thing in my life for the time frame I'm talking about, the last day, the last hour, the last 10 minutes? Did it add value to my life, or did it actually keep me from experiencing something that might have been better? And that's the whole invitation. I just want you to identify the lens and start building the practice of noticing that it's there. It's not good, it's not bad, it's natural. We all have lenses through which we view the world. The lens themselves, they're not good or bad. When we forget that they're there is when we start to live a more limited life. Because when I forget that maybe it's the window that's dirty, and I start thinking that outside is just dark and dirty, then all of a sudden my life is more limited and I'm less likely to go outside and play in the sunshine. And it's really similar inside. When we forget that it's the window that's dirty inside, right? That the way that we're judging people around us isn't necessarily based on reality, but it's based on a lens through which we're viewing them. All of a sudden we can start to identify, is it the lens that's dirty, or are they really this terrible creature that we see? And oftentimes what we'll notice is that the judgments about how the world works, those beliefs, those assumptions, they're the thing that's limiting us from seeing the true beauty and love out in the world, right? And that's a little woo-woo, but it's really valuable and really fulfilling to live a life where you can clean the window off when it starts getting dingy. And that's what really at the base level, what personal work is. It's learning that you're in control of cleaning your windows. You're not in control of cleaning up the world. You're only in control of cleaning up the windows through which you view the world and making sure that you're seeing it as clearly as possible. So write down the windows through which you view the world. Identify why you view them through those windows. Identify when those windows were really valuable to you, and identify if they're still valuable to you in the way they are now, or do they need a little cleaning? That's all I've got for you today. I hope this is helpful. Feel free to reach out, and until next time, stay awesome.